We have started the recording now only, Bhante, so it's all right.
Summary, so that I can go to a solitude place, I can have aim towards the Nibbana, and dedicated for the Dhamma, dedicated my life with the sacrification, and I can adhere to what you are going to tell. In the first episode itself, Venerable Malunkyaputta is not welcome. Instead, the Buddha says, I have given so much of sermons, and you all monk come and ask me in short. So if you ask it like that, what about the young monks? Like still opening another episode by a series of question and answers. That's very interesting. And the Buddha is asking Venerable Malunkyaputta, imagine there may be some visual objects on the earth which you have never seen. Now also you are not looking at it. And in time to come, you will not look into such a thing, and presently also you are not expecting such a thing. If there were that kind of visual objects, with respect to that kind of a visual object, there may be any desire, any attachment, any defilement in your mind. I'm repeating it for the clarification. If there were, or if there are, any visual object that you have never seen, now you are not looking at, it is not happening to see, and in time to come, also you are not going to see such a visual object, will there be any kind of attachment or desire or defilement in your mind? So Venerable Malunkyaputta is giving simple negative answer, no Bhante. I think all of us can witness it. If something which we have not seen and we are not going to see, there won't be any kind of a relationship, and there won't be any kind of a desire or hate or any attachment or any defilement. Then to reiterate the same, Buddha is asking pertaining to the ear and the sound, the nose and the smell, and the tongue and the taste, body and the tactile sensation, and the mind and the mental aspects. So there's a series of questions, each one. Venerable Malunkyaputta is giving negating answers, no Bhante. So that is a kind of a hint for the present day yogis. The past is no problem. Future is no problem. Unseen things are not problem. Only defilements arises, whatever you see here and now. It's a kind of elimination process. Whenever Venerable Mahasi Sayadaw, who is one of the renowned monk in Burma, he explained it, he says, by this particular analysis, by this particular sutta, Buddha is teaching Venerable Malunkyaputta whatever happening in the past, whatever going to happen in the future, and whatever not in the present visual objects beyond our eye shot, these things can't defile our mind. Only what is available within your eye shot, and if you entangle with them here and now, then there may be some desire or hatred or any defilement. This is a very, very crispy, very, very clear indication for the Vipassana yogis. I am specifically using the term Vipassana yogis. Your defilement, your engagement, your encounter is always here and now. Here and now, usually we try to keep our desirable thing, our relatives' photos and desirable pictures and desirable images and all the kind of thing. So whenever you see, there may be liking and disliking. Those sounds also the same. So therefore, whatever you selected to keep within your eye shot, whatever you selecting, you keep it within your earshot. And the desirable thing is the problematic thing. In other, if I am to quote other places, tanhaya jayati soko. Whatever you make your premises, whatever you sing as love spots, whatever you think my desirable place and sounds and kind of thing, so they come in contact with here and now, and they become vulnerable. So after this second episode, whereby the Malunkyaputta is answering the Buddha in the proper way, and after with this kind of a interpretation, we can now go to the next stage. Next stage is Venerable Malunkyaputta is explaining the Buddha according to his interpretation. Even he is an old man, but that is the way, indication, how does he digest that particular message of the Buddha, and that is, I think, peak in the particular sutta. He explained pertaining to the person who is not mindful and when he is seeing what is happening. Person who is not mindful when he is hearing what is happening. He or she, And then he gives the other way around. If one is mindful, what is the option? What is the alternative way the mind is working? So that is a very clear, vivid interpretation. So I would like to draw your attention for this Malunkyapputta's interpretation of the dialogue, the short message the Buddha given, and that itself will take more than 1 hour if I am to explain further. But I am not going to go that detail because I have dealt with this particular sutta much time before. So if someone is interested in, he or she can go into that Venerable Mahasi Sayadaw's book, and I also have done, there may be a lot of other talks, and take it, and you can see more than any science on the earth, more than any psychiatrist on the earth, this is well explained, and I think there is nothing to subtract, nothing to add. So now I am going to take you all to the third episode, whereby the Malunkyaputta is going to give his interpretation. So he says, Rupandiswa satimutta piyanimittam manasikaroti. Imagine a person, he is not been encountered with the Buddha, encountered with Dhamma, and he do not know the mindfulness, but he is now looking. Rupang diswa, and he sees something. So whenever such a thing happens, and as a yogis we can say, even though we are in walking meditation, sometimes mind is shifting, wandering, daydreaming, fantasizing into the visual objects. There we try to keep the mind with the leg, but unmindfully it can jump into other visual objects or sounds maybe. At that time, that yogi is going to say, I'm not more so, no more mindful, I am in the unmindful situation, or a raw person who has no any acquaintance with the mindfulness, Rupandiswa satimutta. That is, mindfulness is blunt, or mindfulness is absent. Piyanimittam manasikaroti. He think this visual object is attractive. I am now in view with, I am now with the face to face with. So we have a question in that situation. Are we see only the desirable objects? Why Malunkyaputta is telling whenever encounter happen, it is desirable? Because, as I understand, at that time, at particular time, there are some sounds, but your mind is not geared to the ear. There may be some smells. They are not prominent. They are not conspicuous. Taste may be, they are not conspicuous. Touch may be, thinking may be, but you are taken that particular visual object, and that is because there is something dramatic, something attractive. So that attractiveness and dramatic nature, we consider as something connected, that's like a gravity. Rupandiswa satimutta piyanimissang manasikarati saratta chitto vedeti. He mentally imagine this is better than the sound in this particular moment, better than the smell, taste, touch, and thinking. So he justify why I selected only the visual object. Therefore, he has to give additional cosmetics, additional adjustments to say that particular visual object is the important thing for me, or that I justify it. So he do it with kind of an appreciation, kind of an saratta chitto. Saratta chitto vedeti tancha ajjosa tittati. And he wish, what about if I can show it to my wife? What about I can take a photo and show it to my children or parents or keep it in my diary? So likewise, he is thinking by plunging into that. Not only he plunged into that, mesmerizing. And he is thinking, oh, what a wonderful color situation, what a proportionate thing. And likewise, he just get absorbed into the whatever he sees. Now we are talking about the seeing object. So please be with me. I will further with the sutta, and you have to understand this can happen in the eye and the sound, ear and the sound. This can happen in the smell and the nose. Everything is been duly discussed in the particular sutta, and now we are proceeding with the visual objects and the eye. Tassa vaddanti vedana aneka rupa sambhava. He is now tasting it, and he has either desirable feeling or undesirable feeling, and it is proliferating. That is called storytelling. That's called mental proliferation. That is called kind of a continuation, and now he or she is rather in a mental imagination rather than the direct touch of the object. So much so he is taken off. So that is called Tassa Vaddati Vedana Aneka Rupa Sambhava. He is daydreaming now. He is fantasizing about this. And that is how, when the famous artist Picasso, when he was drawing a very beautiful picture, and he wanted to see a long distance, so he was coming backward in the scaffolding. He just forgotten he is on a scaffolding. Ultimately, he would have fallen down and died. Therefore, the assistant just threw a basket of paint to that famous picture, and Picasso was so angry. Why that bloody fellow, my assistant, is destroying the photo? He told, now you are really absorbing the photo, but you don't know you are on the scaffolding. You could have fallen down. Exactly the same thing happened for us. Whenever mind is absorbed with something visual, you are blind or you are deaf. Your nose is not working. Your taste is not working. You are completely paralyzed. And it has been attractive. That's like a buffalo. After restraining and put a strand, you can control it. Something like that, we will be dragged into this photo and this fabrication. That is well explained. You can expand as you like. Abhijjacha vihesacha chittamasu pahanyati. So he developed additional attraction with that photo. If at all it is going to disappear, he'll be so angry. So therefore now there is a there is a dramatic relationship with the visual object. Desire or hatred can happen, and mind going to wandering and thundering, heart attack can happen if that is disappearing, if that is becoming unwanted or otherwise. So there we want to keep throughout with that particular desire. But usually in the mind, if something started with the desire, it is always ending up with the disaster. So he is not ready because he is with a completely face value. He do not know. So that is when happen, evaṁ ācinato dukkhaṁ, he is accumulating so much of suffering, friction, and no comfort, tension, frustration. And he is becoming far and far away from the ultimate goal of the Nibbana, ultimate emancipation, ultimate purification, and ultimate simplicity. So now we have to understand each and every time we are encounter with something visual, if we are not mindful, the amount of defilement can happen, the amount of storytelling can happen, amount of fabrication that can happen, amount of mental prohibition can happen that indicates how mad you are, how you are mentally creating a mansion on the sky. And you think all the others around you also the same. But they may be at that time listening something. They may be at that time smelling something. So therefore, in a situation such as such, you can understand how much the things available is not what we see. What we see, that is not available. So much so, our organs are misleading us. They are the most intimate thing with our life. තියෙන දේ පේන්නෙත් නැහැ, පේන දේ තියෙන්නෙත් නැහැ. So you will be never ready to understand that kind of a situation unless otherwise a well-versed, steadfast mindfulness and so much of experience. So then only you can understand. Otherwise you are completely blindfold and you will be dragged off. So one day, the Sakka, that called the king of the god, came to the Buddha, and once came, the Buddha told, hey, God, king of the god, there is no such a thing on the earth that you must get plunge into, you must get enter into. For my omniscient knowledge, I see nothing to get enter into. Sabbe dhamma nalang abhinivedhaya. So the Sakka came, oh, thank you very much, Bhante, and he went off. And after India, he asked his architect to put up a story building, 7-story building, and the very inaugurating any house entering day, Venerable Moggallana, Buddha's one of the best disciples, with his magical power went to the Sakka world. And Sakka, the god king, he was so happy and jumped and told, oh, Bhante, you came in such a auspicious time, please come and share with us. And after a little bit of green tea or plain tea or something like that, took him to that newly built 7-story building. And then it was like a World Trade Center, full of people. And inside divine beings and band tune and everything. So what Venerable Moggallana did was, he created the big water pool and let that building wobbling upon that water. And everyone was happy because they know Venerable Moggallana is such a big powers. And he kicked it with the left thumb, left toe. And buildings start wobbling and toppling and everything. Everything was shouting and going. And Venerable, and in front of the Moggallana, the Sakka was completely shocked. Then he asked, what did the Buddha told you last time when you are leaving? There is nothing called to enter into. There is no inauguration. There is nothing on the earth. So likewise, whenever we don't have mindfulness, we have so much of storytelling. We may have so much of fabrications, and we have so much of uh, mental preparation. We don't know we are off the ground. So much so you keep cut off from the visual object and you just jump into the mental proliferation. So this is the third, how do you call, episode. This is the third nod in the particular sutta. Then Venerable Malunkyaputta himself painting another picture. If you are mindful, if you are alert, if you are vigilant, if you are diligent, and still the same example of visual object. Naso rajyati rupesu rupandiswa patissato. He never go to entertain any visual objects, not only in meditation, not only in walking meditation, not only in sitting meditation, wherever it may be. Naso rajyatu rupesu rupandiswa patissato. Soon he see, my eye is seeing something, he just not, according to our language, seeing. Instead of see the color combination, see the proportionate, see the timeliness, see the zoom in and zoom out, he says now defilement can happen, but I know it is happening through the eye door. He note it, and then he understand my mindfulness has to take the guard. Naso rajyatu rupesu rupandiswa patissato. And viratta chitto vedeti. He understand now mind is, for example, while walking, it is jumping from the walking touch and is going to see something outside. In the walking, sitting meditation, we'll say, you are in the mental imagination, visual things. And mind is very happy to be with that rather than boring, repetitive breath or boring, repetitive in left leg and right leg. And soon it happened that changing from the leg to the eye or the breath to the eye, many younger meditators says it happens, I have no control, therefore what can I do? I am very innocent. The shifting happens. But the Buddha says, if I am to quote another sutta, that is about Indriya Bhavana Sutta, Buddha says that shifting from the leg to the eye is olarikam paticcasamuppanna sankata. It is very gross. It is happening according to a character type. And it is happening impromptu. You can't imagine. So therefore, not only you have to keep your attention with the left leg and the right leg, you have to understand whenever higher degree defilement happens, mind is automatically go into that and you are responsible. You can't say, no, it is happening due to this and that, therefore I don't know, I became a seer rather than the meditator. So therefore, the Buddha has given any chance, not given any chance for the senior meditators, but of course the beginners, they can understand while walking, you are hearing. While walking, you are observing something. While walking, the daydreaming, fantasizing, thinking can happen. But shifting from the leg to the ear, leg to the eye is very gross. Very gross. If you are a disciple of Buddha, if you are a daughter of Buddha, if you are a son of the wife, if you are a servant of Buddha, I don't know whether you are really servants of Buddha. So keep that in mind. You have no escape because you are a servant of the Buddha. And you appreciate what he is teaching. So, naso rajyati rupesu rupandiswa patissato. Viratta chitto vedi, he says, mind is now wandering, daydreaming, slip. It happened, slip of the mind. Tancha najyosatitati, he is not going to make proliferation till I see a very colorful and proportionate and color combination is good and timely and well-focused photo. Instead, he says, I would have been in my simple, at home, no defile touch of the leg, but instead mind is shifting. Can I find fault with the omnipotent, omnipresent God? Can you find fault with the picture which is picture skew? Can you say it is something is controlling my mind? And therefore someone would have done clairvoyance, that is why mind is going? These are the cock and bull stories of the present day meditators. They think someone is controlling my mind and jumping from the leg to the visual objects. But we practitioners must share our experience. How can we understand the situation? The way out is thin slicing of time. How you be with the leg and how quickly you go into the eye visual object. Is it single event or series of events? Can you see intermittent phases? That is called thin slicing of time. There's a complete Dhamma way of explaining it. And it is not you, it is being predestined. That's the point you have to study. That's the point you have to witness yourself. That's the value of having a human mind. That's the value of having a human body. And imagine how many thousands of times it is happening in day-to-day activities. No one is pure. But we servants of the Buddha, we son of the good God, Buddha, we daughters of the Buddha, at least try to see one particular moment, one particular event, at least one event throughout the whole day here, whole life. That will give complete analysis of how the Buddha is analyzing these things. And Malunkyaputta is a very old monk. Now he is giving his own interpretation to the Buddha. If Bhante, I got the gist of it. This is the way I understand. Yatasa passato rupang, sevato chapi vedanam. Under such circumstances, Venerable Sir, even I am looking at the picture, even I felt desirable thing, I am not accumulating defilements. I understand how the eye is working, how the mechanism. So therefore, kiyati no pachiyati, I am no more accumulating. I know how I am succumb to this situation, how much I am vulnerable under such situation. So therefore, I am not accusing myself. I am not accusing that picture skew picture. I am not telling it is someone's job. I understand, at least I have to wait in the next time how the mind jump from the leg to the eye, how the mind jump from the breath to the other visual objects. Each and everything is an entrance, each and everything is an access to Nibbana. Because earlier you used to accumulate something, now you understand what does the human eye, what does the visual object is doing. You are witnessing it. You feel like it's a mistake. You feel like it's something wrong. But this is the point. You see the living Dhamma, the crispy Dhamma, the diligent Dhamma, the vigilant Dhamma under your very nose. And for that, I agree. I apologize. Yes, you must have fair good amount of Dhamma understanding. You must have fair good amount of past mistakes. But the mistakes are no more mistakes. Because whenever such a thing happens, yatasa passato rupang sevato chapi vedana, even though he is now absorbed, feeling like good picture or bad picture, but he see the shape and the manner of the visual object, but he never accumulate because he has the mindful protection. That's a function of mindfulness. You go prepared and protection is there. Imagine such a serious disease like COVID. If you have clean hands, even if you infested, if you are not touching your face, if you are not touching your the tongue or the nose, you are safe. The germ is very virulent. One infested, no mercy, whether you are a king or a pope. But you have such a thing, don't touch your soft tissues, wash your hands. So therefore, doctors may witness, I think Manori, they are very old doctors, they can say any disease you can prevent it by hot water and salt water. If you miss the point only, you have to go to the Manori and ask for the specialized job and specialized medicine and specialized prescriptions. So if you can nip at the bud level, any disease you can do. So I am not negating it. If you contract a disease, you have to go to. Then you have to understand, because you fail to nip it at the body. So therefore, if you can see how the mind is shifting from the leg to the visual object, I am repeating the same example, or from the breath to other thing, you have to understand it's a gift of Dhamma. There's a jewels are there. You have to analyze it and see, don't think it is a mistake. Don't think it's a mishap. Don't think it's a misfortunate. You have your inquisitive mind or your inferential knowledge. You must have your deductive knowledge. This happened because it was very swiftly cut into pieces. Thin slicing of time. That is why this sutta also we can cut into different episodes. Then we can understand one by one. So when it is happening, kiyatino pacheti evanso charati sato. This is called sati charana. This is the behavior of sati. It is not the just a newly born baby. Now baby is walking, he is jumping, he is ready for competitions. So mindfulness becomes diversified. Mindfulness becomes very active. So therefore, mindfulness is not a paralyzed thing. For that, I would like to add in this particular place, for that you must have clear comprehension. You must know mind is with primary object. Now mind is not primary object. And instead it is with the picture, according to the present example. And being there, being in the picture, knowing that you are off the ground, you are knowing that you are bewildered, knowing that you are unmindful, knowing that daydreaming, fantasizing, even then, that very understanding is because of your past mindfulness, because of your past memories. So I have never seen so far any person can appreciate my early mindfulness, the weak mindfulness, my mistakes. They are accumulating, and one day you will hit the target. You will not miss the bus. So you have to keep on appreciating your mistakes. You have to keep on appreciating. Still, you not give up. You just keep on practicing. Unless otherwise, this trial and method, there are no quick methods. Even though Malunkyaputta is asking the Buddha, please give me the gist of the Dhamma, I will go to secular place, I will gear my mind to the Nibbana, I will cut off from others and sacrifice, I will practice. No, you must have sampajanya. You must have clear comprehension that it is not happening due to no reason. Mindfulness is the clearing of the ground whereby the clear comprehension can happen. So clear comprehension is nothing to be with your learning. It's an endowment. Once you come up to a certain amount of mindfulness, you can see, just like an army commander looking at the battlefield, he says, stop the war, come back to the barrack. Now it is disadvantageous for us. So other example is given, when you look at the football game, you have to be on the ball and judge the ground immediately. Even the ball is not in your area, you have to be aware. That is we call be on the ball. So that means why you call vigilance. And there we can apply our knowledge, our inferential knowledge, our deductive knowledge. We call vipassana. We call naya vipassana. Then next time, when you are walking, you know, at the turning point only mind is jumping. Please have this experience beforehand. Therefore, before going to the end of the walking path and turning point, you can be prepared. There sounds may appear. There the visual objects may appear. There the fantasizing may appear. So therefore, knowing that you go to a COVID-affected area, you have to go with the immunity. You have to go with the mask. You have to go with the hand sanitization. Because you know it's a vulnerable place. And that is the place your mindfulness come into higher order. In my language, I call attending to her age. Mindfulness come up to the maturity. So when it is happening day by day, each and every slip of your mind, each and every encounter with other unknown, unwanted object is a golden opportunity for you to understand the snare of the Mara and the gift of the Buddha. Which one you take? You are surrendering to the Mara, says, I am a very poor guy, I can't do meditation because of mind is wandering, daydreaming, fantasizing. No, it is a normal way. But the Buddha has given in particular ways. So, but I would add, the understanding is painfully slow. You are expecting so much of quick results, just like old Malunkyaputta. You will give up and say, no, people are crying, people are making noise, and my leg is making pain, and mind is thinking, therefore I can't meditate. I am, how do you call it? I am too young, so I am to wait little, get old to become meditator. Such a joke in the whole society today. But whether you're young or medium age or old age, the sampajanya, the clear comprehension, not relevant to your age, not relevant to your female or male, not relevant to your ordained or non-ordained. It is a birthright. It's a gift. Each and every cell, each and every RNA, DNA, each and every chromosome is having this knowledge, but they are frozen. They are not being used because you are not vigilant, because you are not diligent. But if you can warm it up, melt it up, then you can see each and every slip, the wandering mind is a golden opportunity. So go prepared for that. Evang apachinato dukkang santike nibbanang uchati. This is the way you get rid of the possible unreasoned defilements to arouse. Otherwise, the defilement may come and grab you. You will be inundated. But now you go by shifting from the leg to the visual objects. I can understand, I can imagine how much defilements can happen, desire, undesire, liking and disliking. So the first day you understand, I just manage not to give a chance for unreasoned defilement to arouse. You feel like you're omnipotent, omnipresent God. You are the one to save yourself. Buddha will never take that responsibility. That I would like to say boldly to the servants of Buddha. Buddha is not going to take responsibility. You have to go prepared. If you go prepared, each and every slip is a golden opportunity. So you have to be an opportunist. As Supandita Sayadaw says, you have to be an opportunist. Don't make any fallacies. Don't make any excuses. Don't make any, disheartening situation. When you keep on applying your mind with this kind of vigilance, one day you will hit the bullseye. You have to keep on shooting like a target shooter. Or person learning archery. These both examples are no good. The shooting and the archery, that's what the Buddha is giving. So when you are doing one day, you will hit it. That's a mere indication that you have the potential. But next moment, again, you are a failure. 1,000 times again failure. One day, again, you will hit the target. So frequency, the hitting the target is slowly increasing. But we are so impatient. We say, no. We wanted to have on the first shooting itself to have target the bullseye. No, this is a trial and error method. So the same thing, what the Malunkyaputta is telling, the Buddha is giving a kind of a summary form. Therefore, Malunkyaputta, whatever you see, Stop at seeing. Don't try to proliferate that I have seen such a thing and you are just forgotten the walking meditation, by the way. But don't appreciate it. Once you comes to know that mind is no more with the walking and the visual, don't regret even. Don't proliferate and storytelling. See the shortest cut to come back to the primary object. They are ditte dittamattam bhavishyati. Don't keep on storytelling. Don't keep on fabrication. And that is what the today media, utterly a fabrication, completely a fabrication. But we can stay without 1 or 2 meals a day, but we can't stay without media, without news. They are making you entertain from all the dirty things happen in the world, because we have our defilements. So therefore, let the media play anything. Even when you are walking and you are sitting and you are washing your dishes, when you are bathing, everything this can happen. So the Buddha says, ditte dittamattam bhavishyati, sute sutamattam bhavishyati, mute mutamattam bhavishyati, viññāte viññātamattam bhavishyati. You are the person, make it rubber-like and pulling and storytelling, fabrication. We are masters. We are masters in giving the short stories or novels. Whenever we meet in the street, we like just chatterbox. Other person can't understand because he or she is not in the context. But we are giving. Ultimately, it ends up with the sampappalapa. Sampappalapa means that frivolous talks. Recently in a talk, Joseph Goldstein, the chief of the inside meeting, you go that's the way Buddha gave that term. That's what the media, that's what the socialization, that is why the fish market, that is why the supermarket. We can't live without that. So therefore, whatever the stories they are telling, we are carefully listening, because I want to tell my story without listening. They are not listening to me. There is a deal. So today we have top level communication in SMS, phones, everything. Have there any kind of a improvement in spirituality? Have there any kind of the reduction of killings, reduction of suicidal, reduction of alcohol, reduction of bad things? No. Because they are always giving extrovert proliferation. Instead, the Buddha says, just cut. Seeing is seeing. So this is that particular, the ditte dittamattam, you scholars may know, Bhaya Daruchirya is that's the gist of the Dhamma. And Anathapindiko Vada Sutta, that's exactly the thing Venerable Sariputta is telling. So if you go into and observe, they appear like gist, but we are missing this chance per day, 1001 times. And there the Buddha is giving little lucid way of explaining. Soon Malunkyaputta, whenever you are not storytelling, whenever you are adding something into that, value added, you are not going to plunge into that. As far as you are not plunged into visual object, that will not make your mind puddled. It will not make your mind clouded. That will not make your mind messy. And you are not mess up with that, and that can't mess up with you. There is no in-between also. That is the Nibbana. That is the Nibbana. Never either Nahurang, no Ubhayamantari. Esevanto dukkasa. So therefore, each and every slipping point is a doorway to Nibbana. It's a spark. It's electric. It is impromptu. But you have to be so sharp. So after Malunkyaputta is giving this kind of a lucid interpretation to the Buddha, Buddha was telling, oh, Malunkyaputta, you have really got the point. And as an appreciation, Buddha himself is reciting it. It's a way of appreciation of the Noble One. And after that, the Venerable Malunkyaputta, he thanked the Buddha and he immediately take off and go to Appamatto Upakatto Pahitatto Vihariya. He become to the forest, under a tree, secluded place, and aiming only at the Nibbana, not with the competition with I am the person seen whole world, I have seen the lot of visuals, and I have so much of music and sounds, and I have so much of the sense and all the kind of tactile, the nose-related experience, tastes, and the luxuries, and the mind proliferation. Instead, he go to secluded place, and no sooner he realized the Dhamma. And then that he came to know, this is the purpose of the Buddha, this is the purpose of Dhamma. I got whatever the person renunciating house and go to the monkhood, this is the prime thing I have to achieve. I achieved. So he was happy to give a kind of a sympathetic statement to say, Ditteva dhamme thayang abhijñā saccikattva upasampajja vihāsi. In this very life, he understood what the Buddha intended to say, and he is still living on the earth, just having a human body, but he is not carried away by this kind of whims, this kind of tendencies, this kind of snares, this kind of traps. Today, household is full of traps. The village is full of traps. Towns are full of traps. And capital cities full of traps. Imagine unmindful youngsters, when they exposed to this kind of a thing, those who have never heard that the Buddha arose on the earth, and the Buddhist teaching is very immediate and close with us. And whenever you are seeing from morning to evening, hearing from morning to evening, and the multi-billion international companies are telling, you are the only person see these things, please come into us and please see, please hear. And when this is happening, imagine an unmindful person who is not familiar with it, he has no fair background of mindfulness, what a vulnerability. Can you imagine about your children? Can you imagine about your parents? Can you imagine about your teachers? Can you imagine about your spiritual masters, I mean, religious people for Sunday? So therefore, I would like to sum up the talk telling, please be mindful and mind your own business. That's all I have to say. Now up to the Manoli.
Much merit, Bhante, for that very valuable talk with so many examples, because the way I understand